Hey guys, it's Michelle Swoons here for Half Stack Magazine, and I'm coming to you from my gym where I had just completed my 6-week push for progress, and I am making a lot of changes in my life. So I wanted to talk to you guys about it and open up about a little bit more about binge eating disorder and show you some ways that you can sort of take back your life, take control. I met Brian with UltraFit in Naperville in February, and I started the 6-week push for progress. It just was an opportunity that sort of fell into my lap, and I decided that I was going to start working out, like hardcore working out. So I literally went from the couch to this. So I was super intimidated. I really had no muscle strength. I had no endurance. I could not run, jog. I couldn't jump rope. I could only do one push-up, and I was pretty weak, I think mind, body, and soul-wise. So as somebody who suffers from binge eating disorder, it kind of like really breaks down your mind over time, and you have difficulty, I think, understanding like what's going on? Why am I doing this? Why is this happening? Back a year ago, I started getting treatment for the binge eating disorder, and I started taking medication and seeing a therapist. And I was kind of like waiting to get my eating under control before I started working out, because working out seemed like the last step in the process. And the truth is that the eating will never really be something that's under control. So I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for really no reason, because it's going to be something that I struggle with my entire life. Food addictions are very real. A lot of people don't even, I think, realize that they're experiencing it. And binge eating is very real. People will do it on a daily, they'll do it weekly, sometimes they'll do it monthly. It just depends on the person and like what you're experiencing. So I guess I just came to terms with the reality that that was something that I was going to struggle with for my whole life, and I just decided to do it. I just decided to start working out, which was really not me at all. If anybody knows me, like if any of my friends are watching this, they'll be like, she is not a workout person. I used to work out at the UFC gym. I did UFC fighting. I used to work out at like Planet Fitness. I've tried literally everything. I was on all those fad diets, the like drink the apple cider vinegar and poop 4 times a day and have X-Lax and water for dinner. Like I've literally tried everything, and of course nothing works. It just kind of like always goes back to the same stuff that you were doing before. I completely broke my routine. I completely changed everything entirely. I decided that I was going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and come and work out. And I'm not a morning person. I like to sleep. Sometimes I have to work nights. So getting up in the morning was absurd. But I did it. I come 2 to 3 times a week. My goal is to eventually get to 4 days a week. During the 6-week push for progress, there was only 2 weeks that I actually made it 3 days. Every other day I only came 2 days a week, and the changes that my body went through are remarkable. I can only tell you that working out with a trainer, so like at UltraFit, you're in a group setting, but you're with a trainer. You work out with, usually I always work out with Brian, but they have multiple trainers here, and they will push you to your limits, but not farther than that. So they'll know like where you're at and how much longer you can go, and they will teach you the proper form on how to do things so that you don't hurt yourself. I had a lot of issues because of being obese. I wasn't just overweight, I was obese. I still am. I have a lot of obviously to go. Being obese, I have a ton of issues with like my joints and my knees and my feet, everything. It was just very difficult even just to move my knees. So I couldn't really squat, I couldn't do lunges. Everything was overall difficult, but now that I've built up all the muscles around my knees and built up more core strength and more strength in my legs. I'm able to do more. My knees don't hurt as much, even just like through everyday activity. I remember like going up and down the stairs to do laundry, and my knees would be like hurting so bad I can't even explain to you like how bad they were. So the benefits that I like, everything here, like learning about my body and learning about myself and learning about a new lifestyle, I just started working out, and then I slowly started making changes in my diet. I'm still slowly making changes every day, but the amount that I have accomplished in this last 6 weeks has been like unreal. I can't even believe I'm sitting here telling you guys this. Like, it's just unreal. So I wanted to invite you guys to look at the gym and teach you a little bit about obese weight loss and how you can get from the couch to the gym and really accomplish a lot of personal goals in a very short amount of time. I swear if you were going to surprise yourself. You'll come into the gym and you'll be like, oh no, I'm out of here. I am out. Because it's very intimidating. There's like all this stuff all over the place, and you're like, no. But you will really, really surprise yourself. Your mind will give out way, way before your body will. So if you just continue to like focus on your breathing and just keep moving, you'll get stronger. So there's this part in the workout where you're like, oh, I'm spent. I cannot do another one. We're done here. And then your trainer will be like, come on, you got 2 more, you got 2 more. Those 2 more is what makes you stronger. And getting stronger physically also, I think, helped me get stronger mentally, because I showed myself that I could do it a little bit more than what I thought I could. I think what pushed me to really just sort of like break through and just enough is enough. I think it was a multitude of things. I was tired of being tired all the time. I was tired of going to the restaurant and wondering like, am I gonna break this chair if I sit down? I was tired of being embarrassed about like not being able to fit in things. Like when you go to the ballpark or a carnival, I always kind of had this love yourself and love your body, and I still do. I have a lot of confidence. I love myself. But I think that the different like plus size movements that were going on were sort of enabling me to continue bad behavior, and they were making it easier for me to continue to just be unhealthy and kind of lazy, so to speak. So I think I just got to a breaking point where I was like, enough is enough. And I got the opportunity to come and work out here in Naperville, and I decided to come, and then I walked through the door, obviously, and I was like, holy shit. This is very scary. And I just trusted in the process. I immediately like, I met everybody at the gym. Like, you'll work out with a couple like different groups. Everybody's really, really encouraging. A lot of people here have their own personal stories and things that they're struggling with. And I just trusted Brian. I mean, he's very knowledgeable. He knows what he's doing, and I really trusted him in the process. So I just kind of like put my blinders on and focused on myself, and I focused on what Brian was telling me to do, and I just didn't think about it. Just don't think about it. Just do the process. Trust in the process, and I promise that is going to make a difference. Here at UltraFit, they do this 6-week push for progress. You've probably heard me talking about it a few times. And it continues on. So like you can do this, you can just do the 6 weeks, see how you feel, or you could become a member after that and continue on. And you will continually, every 6 weeks, get measured. You'll go on the scale. They will test your endurance. There's 6 weeks of working out and then 1 week of progress testing, a progress testing week. And you'll come in during progress testing week, and Brian will pull out the sheet from progress testing day 1, and it'll say like how many sit-ups you did, or how many. They have a whole like course that you'll do and see like how how many you could do of each thing. So the benefits of doing that. So for example, like when I used to work out just like at Planet Fitness or whatever, I had to keep track of all that stuff. They'll come in, they'll take your measurements, they'll have you get on the scale and all that good stuff. So when you work out at another gym, you're kind of responsible for your own progress. And it's more of like you're on your own type of a deal. You just make up your own schedule, you go, you do whatever, you go home. Whereas here, they have a schedule set out. You know, you can go as many times a week as you want. Brian will recommend a regimen for you. But when you come in the door, Brian already has like a listing up of like the group training, or there's OC Fusion, which is a little bit more obstacle course related. And when you come in, he has a preset workout going. So you're going to work all the muscle groups that you need to work. You're going to do it in a style that makes it a little bit easier. So it's HIIT training, it's high intensity interval training, and so you'll work out really hard, like do whatever he told you to do for like 20 seconds or 50 seconds, and then you'll break, and then you'll do it again, and then it's kind of almost like a circuit. Some days it's different, some days you'll do a different type of circuit, but you're training with a trainer and they know what they're doing, so you don't have to worry about, okay, like do I work which muscle groups today, and do I do this or do I do that? And you have nobody telling you like, oh, that push-up that you're doing is going to strain your back. So they'll help you work on like form and like really working from your core so that you will get the right form down. So like if you do a squat, you won't hurt your knees. And so that's, I think, my favorite part of the gym. And then my second favorite part is they'll track your progress with you. So like they'll take your measurements, they'll do all that stuff. And then in 6 weeks, after your 6 weeks is done, you'll come in again and he'll retake all your measurements, and they keep track of it for you. It's like you don't have to think about it. You won't worry about, okay, well, where did I write down my measurements? And then, of course, if you're anything like me, you've probably lost that piece of paper that you wrote it down on. So now you have no idea what the hell's going on. It's so easy to just step on a scale and notice if it's going up or down. But, like, honestly, I know this is going to sound like baloney, but I swear to God, your ultimate goal is going to lose weight. And you are going to lose weight. But here, you're going to gain muscle in the process, and your body is going to start changing. It's going to start looking different. So your measurements are going to be different from your actual scale. So you could work out really, really hard for like 6 weeks and then get on the scale and then be super discouraged because there is not a huge change. So you may have lost like 20 pounds of fat, but maybe you gained, 5 pounds of muscle. Who knows like what happens? So I think keeping track of your measurements and your progress in other ways is going to be just another thing that will drive you forward. Like, you could make personal goals like, oh, I only did 6 push-ups yesterday, or 6 push-ups last week. I'm going to try to do 7 this week. And that 7th push-up is really going to push you towards a different you. And it's a lot easier to be a part of like a community gym where people are going to be inspiring you and egging you on and, rooting for you and really wanting to see you achieve your goals. So like when they do all that progress testing and they do all your measurements and stuff, you don't have to worry about it. They're going to keep it all on hand, and you get the benefits of really seeing how far you've come without having to do it all by yourself. Loving yourself is, if you really want to truly examine what that means. Like even think about it in your relationships, or like even if, let's say, you get a brand new car, you love your new car, and you have to take care of your car. If you really love it and truly respect it, love and respect are pretty much hand in hand, one and the same. If you have part of it, like me, I loved myself. I was cool with being big. I didn't fully understand or know how big I was. I know that sounds ridiculous, but like I didn't even know that I had binge eating disorder. I just thought that this is something that happens sometimes. People overeat. I like food. Like, so kill me, whatever. I don't know. I didn't realize that it was like a true disease and that what I was doing was completely unhealthy. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but like when you're doing all this stuff, you have no idea what you're doing. In fact, I remember there was times where I was doing a workout plan. I was working out with a friend of mine, and I was working with a trainer, and I was not losing any weight. And I was like, what the hell? I don't understand. I'm busting my ass at the gym. I don't understand what's wrong. I don't know what I'm doing. And I was going home like after work, and I was going on a food bender. Essentially, I just opened the pantry and I just start nibbling at stuff and eating stuff. And I remember, like, as I was eating, I would be thinking about what am I going to eat next. I wouldn't even be like looking at I never looked at food as fuel. I looked at food as like a celebration, and it was something that I really enjoyed doing. So when you're on a binge, you could consume anywhere between 1,000 to 8,000 calories and not even realize what you're doing. So I remember one time I was eating, and it's almost like my mind just like blacked out, and like the muscle memory of just like picking up something and putting it in your mouth is what was going on. And I wasn't even thinking about what I was doing and how I was eating and how many calories I was consuming. I was just shoving everything in my mouth. So it's one thing to be like cute, have cute clothes, have like, you know, a nice like attitude, and think about, you know, how you love yourself. Like, you could look in the mirror and get all dolled up and be like, damn girl, you look fine, you know. But that's only one part of loving yourself. When you love something, you also respect it. So like your spouse, for example, you're not going to love your spouse and then talk to them like a piece of trash. Or you're not going to love your spouse and then not do nice things for them or help them or treat them well. It's love and respect. They go together. So I had the love part down, but I didn't have the respect part down because I wasn't respecting my body or myself. And I noticed I would put myself in situations that were also not respectful situations. So like, I wouldn't like stand up for myself in situations like in relationships or in work or in everyday life. Like, I was just kind of like, okay, easygoing, whatever, no big deal. I think you just all of a sudden one day like kind of wake up and figure out like something's not right here. I can't bend over to tie my shoe. And that's literally what happened. I walked in front of the mirror and I was like, damn, what the hell is that? Like, I didn't recognize myself. The person that I saw in my head and the person that I saw in the mirror were two different people. So I think at that point you feel out of control and you have no idea what's going on, and you just sort of like skate on like autopilot and just sort of feel what's coming at you for the moment instead of taking initiative and taking over and like trying to take back your life. So I felt so helpless because I couldn't control myself with the eating until I went on the Vyvanse. I was eating all the time. I was still thinking about food all the time. I had no self-control and I didn't really even know where to start. So then I went on a medication called Vyvanse, and then you know build up your dosage and things like that. But even the Vyvanse, it's just like a Band-Aid, and it only works for a certain amount of time. The doctor like is still expecting you to create new habits and healthy eating, and you know try to deal with your disease in a way that where you can become where it can become manageable on your own. I can't take this medication for my whole life. I could take it for a while until I can get myself in a point where I can control my eating a little bit more, but it's not something that you want to take forever. The other thing too is like, I know a lot of people will recommend like getting gastric bypass or the vertical sleeve or that other any kind of really like weight loss surgery. That's a huge recommendation usually for people of my size. When I started this process, I was 446 pounds. So I was like a prime candidate for weight loss surgery. And you can't have weight loss surgery if you're a binge eater. You could lie on all of your tests and say that you don't have a relationship with food, and you could lie and say that you don't overeat, but you're only cheating yourself. You're only lying to yourself. So I couldn't get the weight loss surgery because I couldn't control myself. So as soon as I got the surgery, I would have ended up one day going on a food bender, making myself extremely sick. I could have harmed myself that way. So by this way, not only do I love myself, but I respect myself enough to deal with what's going on and really try to challenge myself to change it and become stronger. So I guess the thing that I used for motivation was my family, the people that I love, and like I wanted to be somebody that like 16-year-old Michelle would be able to like look at and be like, I need help. Trying to figure out how to get through school. And when you're young, it's tough. You have a lot coming at you. You have school, you're growing, you're trying to learn about yourself and your body and like how life is. And there was nobody talking about it. There's still nobody talking about it. I don't know like why or how or where, but I really would have, like, if I had the like social media and the means of looking at somebody else for help or trying to understand like what was going on, or some sort of role model that I could look at and be like, I wonder what they're doing, like, you know, to try to figure out how to like give myself the tools. What do you do when something happens? You go on Google, you look it up, or you go on YouTube, you look it up and you're like, what is this? What is going on? There was nothing to even, there was no warning signs. I just thought it was normal. I had no idea that I was doing something that was going to really harm myself. So I think I just used the motivation from what I would have needed, what I still need, which is somebody to like stand up and be like, yo, it's okay. You can get past this. It's not going to kill you as long as you start taking the steps that you need to take now in the right direction. So like, put down the food, channel your energy into something else, go to the doctor, go to a therapist. You know, there's so much out there that can help you. Go to the gym, get moving. So like if you do accidentally have like a little food bender, if you can burn off some of those calories to try to like keep your metabolism going and keep yourself moving so you can burn some of that fat, it won't take over your life. And I think that's what happened to me, is I just let it like take over my life. And it's never too late to start. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter how old you are. There's people going here, Sandy's 70 years old. It's not too late. You can make the changes. I promise you are a lot stronger than you realize.